It is a early Sunday morning here in the United States. We are witnessing another round two match here in season 2 of the official Cabalvision Blood Bowl 2 PS4 Cup. I am Serious Jest, and I am taking you through the Baltimore Blood hosting the Knights of the Round Table. We are at home for the Baltimore Blood, our Nurgle team. They were our top Nurgle team and the only one to make the playoffs this season. And the human team, it's the same only human team to make the playoffs this season. In fact, they only went through because the top human team was coached by Arza Wayne 5, our returning champ, who decided to go with it, whose Chaos team was ranked higher. So his team took a step aside, and Chazdavidson's Knights of the Round Table got to come in. And the Knights of the Round Table made a final kind of push to make the playoffs, and meanwhile the Baltimore Blood were pretty much as soon as Nurgle came out, these guys pretty much jumped to the top of the standings and held it there. So you'll see a discrepancy in the development of the teams. Baltimore Blood with the higher TV, and we see doesn't look like there's a wizard for the Knights of the Round Table. I know Chazdavidson was talking about a halfling chef before the game, but I don't see a halfling chef. Well, if the halfling chef did cook anything up, he didn't steal any rerolls from the Baltimore Blood. I really hope he didn't purchase the halfling chef, because not only did the Baltimore Blood come into this half with all of their rerolls, they get an extra one at the kickoff. You may notice that the action's going to be moving very fast, and there's a little bar there at the bottom. This is not a live match. This is a replay. I got word late that the teams had already played. Of course, I told everybody that while our intent is to broadcast every single match, I don't want us to hold the competition up because we couldn't get broadcasting on the spots. So I don't actually know what's going to happen in this match. I kept it spoiler free on the chat. And even when I went to tune into Cabal TV, I had my lovely fiance select the game for me, so I didn't see what the final score was. And we see the Nurgle with their opening blocks, knocking some humans to the ground, but no permanent damage. There is not that much claw palm, as it's known, on the Nurgle team. Little sure hands action by the Pestigore ensures that I'm sorry, not sure hands. His skill right there with his extra arm really helps him pick up that ball. Although the weather here is solidified, it's not a lot. Basically, it'll always be good weather when playing at home in Baltimore because of the magic dome covering the stadium, which doesn't allow conditions to impact the field of play. The humans are retaliating here on defense, trying to make it difficult for the Nurgle to advance, and there is a missed dodge at first, but the defender regains his footing, and Bedivera is going to come with the big stomp and knock out Mehmet. A block having Rotter. There was a bribe purchased apparently, so the referee has accepted the bribe, and the player is not going to be sent off. That's Bedivere, Mr. Bedivere. And the humans are going to continue to move into position here. It looks like a blitz coming from Patrick, the Pestigore, and he's going to put the hit on Griff Overwald. So that's where some of that inducement money went. There was significant inducement difference here. I mean, probably somewhere around 500-600 of inducements. Unless the Baltimore Blood made some cuts that I didn't know about. But, oh, look at that. The claw goes into effect, cuts right through the human get it here, or whatever, whoever that was. Well, through the human, let's check him out, why not? Lyman Gaharis, a guard lineman who is pretty important to the team. There's not a lot of guard on the human team. So one of their guards goes down, the claw slicing right through his armor and taking him off the field. He's injured, and that was Denny, the Nurgle warrior. And Chaz is sending his troops backward trying to get them to stop the advance of the Nurgle, who has pretty much picked that left wide zone and is advancing their way that way. And Arthur is going to jump in there, knock down Jan, and then make his way over more left again. So it does not look like the humans are just going to let the Nurgle seal that little corridor over here. They're going to seal it off and close the door on it. And Uli goes down from Lancelot, and then Bors, this dangerous block ogre for the humans, is going to knock down the beast of Nurgle, and he's going to try to make him his bitch of Nurgle, but the Nurgle retaliate, and Lamorak is KO'd by this dangerous Nurgle warrior named Helga with the claw and his mighty blow ability. And the beast of Nurgle is going to get up. That is Miley. And they're going to let Arthur have it. The king is down. The king is stunned. And Jans is going to move more toward the center of the pitch here. So what they're basically trying to do, those humans went deep and they went left. Now, the human speed is such that they can get back. At least these guys can. But the Nurgle, if they had a little more speed, would be able to seal this off. Oh, one die block comes with its risks, and there you see that risk bite the Nurgle in the butt. Griff Overwald, the star player, comes in here, and he will not be pushed around. But, oof, he also, Nuffle says no to him as well. That's the other thing. You go with those loners first. Griff Overall with the loner, there's only 50% chance a reroll works for him. So going with those guys first is also a risk, even if they do have block. And the onslaught continues from the Nurgle. Lancelot is injured, and the apothecary comes out, and actually, Coach Chazdavidson believes that Lancelot is key to his squad, and apothecary comes out and saves Lancelot, gets him back up on his feet on the side of the field. He's on the stationary bike, and he will be back on the next drive. And down goes Bors, a hit from Denny. He's lucky that claw didn't slice through his armor. And it looks like they're marking up Gawain. And are we going to see a Nurgle push up that left wide zone now? So kind of like a double cross here, right? The humans pulled everybody left. The Nurgle started to set back up so they could go right. The humans push back right, and it looks like the Nurgle are now sealing most of the humans off to the right, and the one remaining human that's standing in the way, Gawain over there, is standing alone and unafraid, surrounded by 3 Nurgle. And down goes Mr. Bedivere. Who cares? No one cares. If you don't know that song, check out Mr. Belvedere. Type in Mr. Belvedere theme song on YouTube. I'm an old head. And you're going to see the humans knock that ball loose. Griff Oberwald, earning his paycheck, comes in, knocks down Jan, and if the Nurgle can free up, yeah, Nurgle go ahead and free up somebody pick the ball up. But before that, the Nurgle warriors, man, they're just doing a number on these humans. Tristan goes down, he's injured, and that's a big deal because Tristan is a leader and brings with him, adds a reroll to his team. So not having him on the pitch loses a reroll for this team going into the second half, and that could be a real problem for the humans. And now you're going to see the hits continue. That was the catcher, Garant, who goes down. And Griff is going to get a little dose of the horns. There goes Jans, putting him on the ground and picking up the ball that he believes is rightfully his. Or does he? He does pick it up. Even the extra arm wouldn't have been enough because he was rushing to get there. And luckily for him, the extra training this week he did with ball handling really helped him out. And you are going to see Was that an ogre? Oh yeah, he's a break tackler. And a failed dodge. And Galahad is going to go in hard. One die block on Jan. Another failed dodge. The humans not as flight of foot as they would like to be. And the Nurgle look like they're in some good position. And wow, that's a lot of skulls flying around this game. So Patrick going to push Gawain back, and he's going to get finished off by that dangerous Mighty Blow Claw Nurgle Warrior. And the Apothecary comes out again. So I guess there was a bribe bought, there was an extra Apothecary bought, and Griff is on the field. So I guess that's where the inducements went to. And those Apothecaries have definitely earned their paycheck today. Brought back 2 players that would otherwise be gone, and even with that, you've got 2 players sitting on the sideline, broken. If it wasn't for that extra Apothecary and the regular one, this human team would be in really, really, really dire straits. The way the Nurgle is just bringing the hammer down on them. And now they're going for Griff. So most of the humans' inducements gone, except they do have a wizard. I didn't see the wizard before. I didn't have the right screen up. I thought I hit it. So they've also purchased a wizard. So probably about half of the inducements for the humans to make up the huge TV difference are off the table. And that's just, there you go. You see the nasty Boars decides to break free from the grasp of two Nurgle warriors and the Beast of Nurgle, and he was going to take a hit, revenge on that one Chaos Warrior that's been causing, or the one that's been causing the most damage rather. But when he goes to hit him, the Nurgle Warrior rather lets out a huge fart that just the smell is overwhelming to Boars, and he's unable to complete that play. And now you're going to see the Nurgle try to solidify,
this is going to be decisive,
completely block off the humans, and that's key. Ooh, Boars is stunned, and that pretty much assures the touchdown. Jans is going to stand right there on the precipice of the goal line and make sure that, and wait for the word. IBN 84's coach does not wave him in yet. He's not ready for it. And here comes the hit on Griff. And these Chaos, this Nurgle team is just having a lot of trouble bringing him down. Griff has really stepped up and been a leader here. Totally been worth his money. Garant, the catcher, runs downfield and does what is referred to as the standard, the Knorring move, where he runs down there and he's in scoring position basically. If they can somehow free the ball up here and get the ball to him, he'll score. And we're going to see another failed dodge from the humans. It's going to bring an end to their turn. But what they have managed to do is mark up the ball carrier with Mr. Bedivere. But they got to get rid of him. And instead of focusing on him first, they are going to lay the smack down. And goodbye, Mr. Bedivere, at least for this turn. A valiant effort, but it is too much. And Jan is going to run across the length of the goal line, holding the ball out toward the humans, in a celebration, kind of a smack talk in there. And yeah, look at that ugly mug posing for the camera. Hey, Mom. And speaking of hey, Mom, here's some ladies that could be future moms or are MILFs dancing on the pitch. So look at the discrepancy in the kill box there. 2 humans dead and injured, even though both apothecaries have been used successfully. So that could be worse. That could be 4 injuries right there. And the humans left with only 1 turn to 1 turn. And we're going to switch our camera viewpoint to the offense, which is the humans. The humans are going to receive, so they're going to get a shot at the 1 turn if they feel like they're up to the task to do it. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, and humans do have the personnel to pull off a 1 turn. The Nurgle here are in a 1 turn defense, you see, or a prevent defense rather, and they've lined everybody across. So even if, let's see, who has the most movement on the human side, And that's going to be, now Griff at 7. They've got a human catcher who goes 8, I believe. I guess not, unless he's not on the field. Anyway, there's the kickoff. And no wind affecting the kickoff. And it looks like they're going to try to get Griff going over there to make that, and that doesn't help because that, yeah, that'll solidify no one-turner, knocking that Rodder down. While it does knock him out, yes, they can still get, you still got to get a guy here to get an extra push. But, I mean, Griff is only he's only got 7 movement. So even if you manage to do this, yeah, no, okay, so they're just setting up for the other. There's not enough for the one-turner. And I think Chaz realized that and made some signals to his team, and they are redirecting. And that looks like, so, yeah, the foul is definitely coming. Humans got to be careful, though. Their numbers have been whittled down, so losing a player here by getting ejected would not be helpful to them. But it pays off big. Miley is injured, pinched nerve, and the regeneration fails, so we will not see Miley until the finals if the Nurgle team makes it out of this game. But Miley is just a wrecking ball right now, or has been hit by a wrecking ball right now, rather. And we will not see her for the rest of the match. And really, if you took a look at that appearance, it's probably easier on the eyes, but it's not like the Baltimore Blood are full of pretty players. But that is by far, probably in my opinion, the ugliest one they have. Sorry, Miley, I'm sure you have a nice personality. And now we are preparing for the second half. Let's see what it brings. Again, if you're tuning in here, this is a replay of the Baltimore Blood versus Knights of the Round Table match, which I got late notification of. I do not know who won this game as I sit here. I had somebody else select the match for me on Cabal TV so I wouldn't see the score. So I am going to be, if you don't know who won this match, this is round 2 of the Season 2 playoffs, or Champion Cup, the official Cabalvision PS4 Champion Cup. And I don't know who won this match, just like you don't know if you don't know. If that makes any sense. Anyway, there's the bounce kick. The ball is off. The fans are just going nuts here for their home team, the Baltimore Blood. And that is going to provide good karma for the Nurgle team. Here comes Lancelot, who was saved by the Apo earlier and shows that he's worth it. He was worth that Apo equipment to keep him on the field, knocking out a Rodder. And now Boris is going to get involved. Risky move, going with the Ogre block first. And then Mehmet is going to get knocked down by Galahad. Looks like the humans are going to push downfield a little bit. And they're going to... There is an opening right in the middle where the Nurgle have sort of invited the humans to throw their forces through. And they're going to open it a little wider, but they're not going to get too crazy with Arthur and send him out too far. Griff is going to come pick up the ball, and they're going to use Griff. Despite the strength 4, they're going to use him as their main ball carrier. Probably a smart move, given that, again, that little, this icon right here, that loner icon, means that rerolls for Griff doesn't automatically get to use rerolls. He only has a 50% chance of a reroll working, even if you know, it's already burned, even if you missed it. So, Nurgle retaliates, surprise, surprise, by knocking somebody on the ground, and Arthur gets stunned.
Can't even put his own shoes on alone.
Trying to remember if the apothecary was used on Arthur before. I'm not sure. And now the Nurgle are going to close that hole. They don't want to let the receivers start to run rampant. Although, to be honest, with Griff with the ball as one of the receivers, I don't think Griff is passing this ball. I think Griff is probably, you're going to see a human running game. And, you know, again, it doesn't look like they're trying to score quickly. So I'm thinking, you know, because this is the playoffs, because this is the Champion Cup, we don't go to, there are no ties here. If the score is tied at the conclusion of the second half, we're going to overtime. So the fact that the humans are not in a rush to score now and then, try to do what they can to get the ball back before regulation expires, it looks like they just want to tie it up and go into overtime with a set running game. Of course, you got to be ready to adjust if the Nurgle put the pressure on and whittle the numbers down the way they were doing in the first half. And we got like a loose cage going here. And humans carving like a little path for themselves to make sure that the Nurgle can't just cut off the rest of the troops from the rest of from the main unit. And a dodge by that human lineman, and K gets a stomp in, is not effective with the stomp, and the ref doesn't like it. And that was a stomp on I believe, was it on a Rodder? No, it was on a Rodder. He's going for a Rodder. So Rodders to the Nurgle, they've got an extra one sitting on the sideline. I guess maybe it was a Rodder with block. It was a Rodder with the block skill, so they can be dangerous. But the humans trying to take the Rodder off the pitch unsuccessful and instead get their own man ejected. So I'm more of a fan of picking high value targets if you're gonna foul, just because of the danger of getting ejected. Now the Nurgle are again in command of the numbers. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, they're even now. Humans had a one-man advantage. And that was a human. That was Galahad knocking down that Rodder. And Lancelot, again, very grateful that they decided to use the apothecary on him. And he lets Jenny, the Blodge Pestigore, have a little taste of that medicine. Griff is going to run into the wide zone. Ooh, this, right about that time, Boars turns to go for that right sideline and sees one of the signs on the right from one of the fans seems to have angered him, and he starts yelling obscenities over at one of the Nurgle crowd over there, and whatever it is that they have on that sign, I can't quite read it from the booth, maybe we'll get reports on it later. Whatever that sign says, it really seems to have pissed him off. He's not paying attention to the game anymore. He's just having an argument with the shouting match from the middle of the field all the way over to the fan. I'm not even sure these two can hear each other, but whatever is on that sign, it's that some kind of Nurgle language I can't understand, but it's really, the ogre understands it, and it's really pissing him off. And the follow-up of, I believe that guy's name is Uli. Uli, the Nurgle warrior, who's been causing some real damage this whole game with his clawing, his mighty blow techniques. And more Nurgle warriors make their way. The Nurgle team's just flooding that right sideline. They've managed to mark Griff up. They've managed to mark his lead blocker, Jirani, up. Griff, lucky for Griff, Griff has the dodge skill and to go with his high agility. So even if Griff fails the would initially for the initial roll, if he fails the initial roll for the dodge away, he is going to get a second shot at it, because the skill that counters it is tackle, and there is nobody marking him with the tackle skill. Lancelot coming around the edge to try to lay the block on Jan, and Jan, that's dangerous. That is dangerous because he's in surf danger right there, and a failed dodge this time. And we talked about that dodge skill, which that catcher Gerant does have, but when this guy that was marking him, Jans, does have the tackle skill, so that negated that, and he had to burn the team reroll. The humans now down to only 2 rerolls, as we know from before. Their leader piece was taken off of the pitch. He is injured and out, so that took a reroll away from them heading into the second half. They came in with 3. I think this is the first time they burned them. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Blood with rerolls aplenty. I mean, they can afford to get a little risky with their actions here, since they've got 1 for every turn left in the second half. That being said, though, it looks like the humans have pretty much established a definitive scoring opportunity there. I don't think the Nurgle are going to be able to bust through and stop. Oh, there it goes. See there, and that's why the humans get the risky play, because they have the rerolls to burn. Now the only downside, all right, that didn't work, and they burned a reroll. Now, and not only did they burn a reroll, but Monique, the strength 4 Pestigore, smashes his hip while trying to dodge and getting tripped up, and he is going to lose a point. No, he's not. His hip regenerates while he's on the sideline, and we'll probably see him back in this match on the next drive. And it's with the Nurgle threatening to score the way they are, with the Nurgle threatening to attack that ball carrier the way he is, Griff may be forced to score now and give the Nurgle 3 turns to retaliate and end this before before regulation is over. But if not, we'll go to overtime. And here's the thing: because overtime is a possibility, the normal "hey, you've got rerolls to burn" is kind of off the table. Griff now running, so he's stalling. Yes, definitely stalling, so he doesn't want to give the Nurgle 3 turns to score again. It's risky, though, because if something like that happens with the double skulls and Gawain gets knocked out, there could be a shot on that ball carrier. Again, it's now, to the credit of Chaz, though, some of these guys are marked up, but they just freed up Denny, who with 2 GFIs, that's 2 83% chance rolls, can get a direct hit on Griff, and it'll be a 1-die block. Griff is a blodger, though, so... Ooh, Bedivere pays for it, and the way, if these hits keep flowing the way they are, 2 additional knockouts. If we go to overtime on this anyway, the humans may be down at a disadvantage on numbers as it stands. And you're going to see Patrick smack down Gareth, and here comes the 1-die block on the blodger. There's a 1 in 6 chance of this loosing the ball. And reroll is spent, and Griff's going to get knocked into the end zone. They're not going to play around with any more stalling. The Baltimore Blood won 2 chances to go downfield. Now, going back to the thought I was having easier, there's Griff celebrating. Yeah, he earned his paycheck. He loves this crowd. This is why he does it. I mean, if you really know, if you don't know, Griff Oberwald is a legend. He's known throughout the Blood Bowl community. The guy is rich. He doesn't even regularly play anymore. He takes absurd amounts of money for 1 game. I mean, we're talking about the contracts that other, regular Blood Bowl players earn in a year. This guy gets paid in 1 game, and we're talking about good Blood Bowl players, developed Blood Bowl players earn in a year, and this guy gets paid that in 1 game. So Griff doesn't really need the money anymore, but Griff loves the crowd's adoration, and he loves scoring touchdowns, and he loves playing for a team that's going to use him in this fashion to trot into the end zone and wave to the fans and sign autographs. And now you're going to see the Nurgle go on offense, so I'm going to switch viewpoints. And so now here, getting back to my thought from before is 2 turns ago, the Baltimore Blood had 5 rerolls. All right, and the humans have burned, they've only burned 1. They've been pretty thrifty with their rerolls. Well, the Baltimore Blood just keeps getting more. But the point I was making is, if this goes to overtime, rerolls are obviously, you don't get your rerolls replenished before the commencement of overtime. So going into overtime with 5 rerolls when your opponent only has 2 is great. Also, and you don't know what your opponent's going to have to spend. And there's another reroll spent by the Blood. Also, if both teams are unable to score in overtime, there is a penalty kicks phase at the very end of the match, and breaking the 4th wall, it's a dice roll that is augmented by how many rerolls you have left. So again, if you have 5 rerolls and your opponent has 2, and you guys both roll a 6-sided die and then add your rerolls, the chances of you winning in penalty kicks is huge. So you don't necessarily want to burn them just for the sake of burning them. But if you think you can finish off your opponent, then by all means go for it. And again, I don't think IBN 84 used his rerolls irresponsibly at all. But losing them at that alarming rate now, he's burned 3 in the last 3 turns, kind of sucks. That being said, though, he's still got a 3-2 edge in rerolls on his opponent. So if the Nurgle are unable to score before regulation, then you are going to be seeing us go to overtime. And here comes the boom, a nasty uppercut, and Judah is dead. Lancelot, again, just very, very grateful that he was able to be still be playing. I mean, he kind of got a second lease on this game, and they used the apothecary on him, the second apothecary, and he comes in with the nasty uppercut, removes a rotter from the field. If you saw two injury results there, and the way it works for rotters are if you roll the injury dice twice and you take the worst result because they got that decay. Now this is dangerous because it looked like the Nurgle had 2 turns to score, but humans can cover a lot of ground. They've got a lot of movement, especially that Griff Overwald, and Griff Overwald can free that ball up by himself. Now the issue here is there's a failed GFI by, is that a failed GFI? Yeah, by Jans. So if Jans failed to pick up that ball, it's in the humans' end zone. And yeah, it's all well and good to do this and set yourself up so you can go downfield with them, for a great pass at the very end. But you cannot ignore the fact that there are 2 humans back here who can cover a lot of ground and get to your ball carrier. And yeah, and that is dangerous because you've just helped the catcher get into a position where he could go grab that ball. It would just take Griff to free the ball up, and
We call that a bleeding pass.
ooh,
Coach is pleading that the pass
and that's ballsy. That is ballsy. That's the equivalent of a punt there. That could have easily gone wrong. That's a lot of trust in Jan because Jan, let's see, what was that? That he was just kind of trying to throw that ball downfield away from his own end zone. He knew that was a risk. And look at that. Boards is going to come up big and knock Jenny back away from the ball. So the pass wasn't made, but getting it away from his own end zone was huge. And are we now going to see the humans have to really make a lot of stuff happen here? And that's going to be a failed dodge. Does he want to burn the reroll? Nah, they're going to overtime, and humans don't want to mess around with that. Unless the Baltimore Blood can somehow get to this ball. Now Jade, let's see, is Jenny in scoring range? Because if she's not, then you're just going to... Yeah, actually, if they can knock that ogre down, pick up the ball, and get it to Jenny, they can get it with the blitz on the ogre, free up Jenny. Somebody picks up the ball, get it to Jenny in the end zone. There could be... I mean, this could finish right here. And here comes the blitz. No, they're going to use... So it looks like they're going to blitz with Jenny. Jenny's going to pick up the ball and go into the end zone. And IBN wants this to happen badly enough that he is willing to spend the reroll that we talked about that's so important. So Jenny pushes the ogre out of the way, can make this with 2 GFIs, and is able to pick the ball up and runs into the end zone with the 2 GFIs, and that is the game. Wow, Baltimore Blood with a final push. It's a desperation pass. I really thought we were going to overtime there for a second. By the way, and I know that those of you, there was a little white bar in the bottom that told you that the game was almost over probably, but I specifically was looking away from that, in order to not have this spoiled for myself. I'm good at lying to myself. I'm sorry. I could see that there were 2 comments in the chat, but I didn't have my Twitch up on my own screen, so I don't know what they were. If you want to repost them, I'll be glad to address that now. Anything in the chat, be glad to respond to. But let's take a look at the stats. So you'll see this Baltimore Blood team looking just deadly. The way they came out, just swinging. This is what you fear from a Nurgle team. They're out there to shut your passing down. And by the way, the humans took the running approach, obviously, because that disturbing presence really messes up your passing rolls. So if you're going to go in facing this team, you're probably not passing a lot unless you have the kind of arm that can throw it over the disturbing presence, like out of the disturbing presence zone and over the disturbing presence zone and finishing them off. And so there was 17 armor breaks for the Baltimore Blood, 6 armor breaks for the Knights of the Round Table. Big disparity there. That was pretty much the story of the game. Only 1 death, though, and one of the Knights getting kicked out. Look at the ball possession. Nothing crazy here on the stats that I'm seeing. And that's Chaz in the chat. So he was letting me. So he wanted to let me know that he used his wizard. That's why the pesty down wasn't a GFI. Oh, that's what it was. Thank you. Okay, okay. That's so. That was a good move putting Yan down, especially if I had knocked him out. Both sides just played very well. I gotta say, I was impressed by the coaching here. 62 blocks though to the 29, and the humans rightfully just realized the bashing game wasn't gonna work with these, going off against this team that was just doing a lot of damage with that claw and the mighty blow. So they went elf style, and humans can do that. A good adjustment on the fly by the humans. They almost had it. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on the Nurgle. It's that pass, that long bomb that the Nurgle threw. I mean, that by all rights, a lot of times that would have been a fumble. And stayed back in his own end zone, but he managed to at least get it on that side of the field, which was huge. And yeah, 4 injuries to 1, that made the big difference. But the inducements really helped to make this a great game. And Griff was probably well worth his money. I'm wondering, Chaz, because I have you in the chat, would you, in retrospect, would you have changed anything up on your inducements? Would you have decided to go with a second star player in lieu of the second apothecary, or what? Personally, I gotta say, I think the selection was good here. I mean, you made this a close game where the TV difference is huge. The second apothecary came in very useful. You managed to keep your key blitzer on the table, and I forgot, besides Lancelot, who the other guy that the apothecary was used on, but they were both very key guys. And let's see, the bribe kind of didn't pay off, but I understand that fouling was a part of the strategy. In retrospect, fouling didn't work out very well for you. So, but I don't know where that extra 100,000 goes. A third apothecary could be. You could have helped. It could have helped keep one more of those players on, especially the one with the leader skill. So Chaz in the chat saying he thinks it worked well. The only thing that was bad was the bribe failing on the first go. Yeah, and that really sucks. You take your 100,000, you invest in a bribe, and you think it's gonna maybe give you an extra crack at the apple after you've already had maybe 3 successful fouls and gotten away with it, and then that happens, and you're like, oh man, I should have spent that 100,000 on an extra apothecary, or something. Or maybe even put it towards a star player, and came out of my personal funds. And I don't know if Chaz, if you came out of your personal funds in this match too, or if you were holding on to some in the bank, thinking if I make it to the second round, I'm going to need a cash reserve. But I don't know. I think it was a good mix of. I think it was a good use of the funds. It was a really close game. There's not much more you could have done. I'm wondering if maybe a second star player may have changed the flavor a little bit, but I don't know. You did the best you could, and this team is just the Baltimore Blood is just a very strong team. So yeah, Chaz said he spent the 30K himself for a Babe as well. Okay, so he had the Babe in. Smart decision to use a Babe too for the knockouts. But it just didn't work out for you here. Tough luck. This is season 3, already in effect, guys. If you're not aware, and I know Chaz has been playing in that ladder as well. So if you're watching this match and you're excited by what you're seeing and you want to compete, throw a team up in that pool for the super scary team, says Chaz, definitely. If you think you can compete in here, and why not try, man? Throw a team up in the champion ladder and spin it up, see how you do. You could be here having your match announced, and and you could be in competition for what the winner's going for is the coveted cyans that come with this. Hundreds of cyans on the table can be won, and not only first place wins the cyans prize, but there's the various places. Just by making the playoffs, you get cyans, and I'll show you here. And also, the winner for his MVP in the final gets a special skill that you can't get anywhere else. It's called the fan favorite skill, which gives you an extra fan factor for all kickoff rules, which is huge. If you don't know what kickoff rules do or how they work or how the fame modifier, plays into it. You get an extra fame modifier point. I mean, if you don't know how that works, definitely read up on it. Just Google Blood Bowl fame modifier, how do kickoffs work, that kind of thing. There's a few different publications on the specifics of how it works. Or read the Blood Bowl LRB because it'll kind of go into detail on that. But anyway, the winner gets 500 cyans and the fan favorite skill. And yeah, this is a good match, and we've still got 2 more to play. One is the Froth Fighters, which is coached by V Power V. They are hosting the Space Meteors, a Necro team coached by Gasolimal. Also, my own Swagger Squad is going to be facing off against Dinar 321's Here for Another Beer. Swagger Squad, a High Elf team, Here for Another Beer, a Scary Orc team. The latter match goes down on Monday at 10:30 GMT. I'm sorry, let's see, it's 1100, so 11 p.m., so 2300 GMT, and I will probably not be hosting it live maybe I will, I don't know, I got to talk to Dinar about whether I'm going to host it on my Twitch while we have announcers, or whether we'll move it to another Twitch, and Dinar and I will tune out and come back in after the game. But if I move it to another Twitch, I will post it in my Twitch channel. Also, take a look at the forums, the official forums, where we have a whole thread about the PS4 competition and where you can find all the matches. I try to keep that updated. Right now, I haven't posted for round 2 yet because the games have happened really fast since we advanced the next round, but I intend to do that very, very soon. I will post in the chat here. It's the forum.bloodbowl-game.com, and that's the link. That is a great place to go, actually. If you go into the general folder, you could find Nithios updating the community on all kinds of tidbits about Blood Bowl. If you got questions, it's a great place to ask. The Cyanide and Focus admins are constantly monitoring that thread, and they do respond to questions. They are responsive, and I will say something I learned just by jumping on the general folder yesterday. Nithios announced that within a couple of weeks there'll be an announcement on another quote, in his words, quality of life upgrade that they're making to Blood Bowl 2, and a lot of people have been asking for league administrative upgrades. So if you run a league, or if you play in a league that you wish that your league admin could do a certain thing with, with setting matchups or things like that. I personally, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what it is. Nithios hasn't revealed that to even us moderators or admins, but he has been public about the fact that in 2 weeks we're not, by the way, you should all know, Khemri and Chaos Dwarves coming out really soon. So it's not just additional races that are coming. Cyanide and Focus have been hard at work trying to upgrade just like the gameplay as well, and clear some of these some of these glitches as well. Well, so again, thank you all very much for tuning in. chazdavidson, very good job. You did the best you could, and this was definitely a show. It was a very exciting match, and I suspect that the latter 2 matches that happen in this competition will be just as exciting. Tune in again for mine, 2300 GMT Monday evening. Tune in here, and if it's not here, I'll post where it is, or keep up on the forums. There is a competition series folder in the general forums under that PS4. And thanks for tuning in. This is Serious Jest, and this has been a Cabalvision PS4 official broadcast. Thank you, and good morning.